and I don't discover certain pattern. Rightly, as you say, there are no indigents in Sierra Leone. We all came. But why did we come to Sierra Leone? And who were the people we met? Now we need for answer. If you take, I think you are familiar with the work of the thesis of Walter Rodney. He wrote specifically on the Upper Guinea coast. If you use that thesis and you look at the geographical and sociological similarities from Senegambia right down to Liberia, you'll be able to piece together. Matilda, I'm not hearing you.
No, I said I'll ask the technical team to actually pull up that map, the upper.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. If you take from Senegambia, this map, right down to Liberia, well before the collapse of the Mali Empire, we bring the Mende, the Bambara, and the other inland people and towards the coast. Senegambia was part of Mali Empire. That was the area called Kebu. Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Sierra Leone, and Liberia, they had a commonality of coastal people, where they wrongly called Sapi. Who are these people? You had the Bulum, or what would they call it, the Shabro. If you ask the typical Shabro man, you people them, then they tell you, say, in a Bulum, to Shabro. Shabro are the name of the leader by Shebora.
Correct.
There has been a lot of mistakes made in nomenclature and narratives when I don't bleed with also with this today. As you rightly say, you started this inquest to know more. For me, I had that urge since the time I was going to school. I went to the grammar school. But I be happen for the travel on holidays because my parents and me, they work now the government service. I, as a small school going back, discover similarities in culture. Power society, then at the north, then at the south, then at the east. You get still a Gongoli, Nafale, Dentin and they. But you see people talking different languages, so it sort of provokes certain things. Then, by the time I went to university, tribalism and the other things come into the matrix. I said, no, something is wrong about us. We are all similar, but something is wrong. The fault is we did not have records of who we are. But I would stand and say conveniently that we are all people of very similar DNA. Because when you look across that area where I don't tell you, from Futa Toro down to Liberia, you see the same cultures. Now the language is then different. The Baga, when they talk, now the same like Timini. Just like how the Loco, when they talk, now dialect of Mendi. The Soso and the Jalonka, now the same people. Timni and Soso, now offshoots of other identities. Timni basically now a mixture of Landoma, Soso, and Baga. Now what about Rofuta in the Timni? Now the connection with the Timnis then get with the coastal Baga.
Okay.
Now the Bagas then get down Nomoli and the other thing and they. But the bagger them is spread such that them they live with the jalonka them na futa jalong. That's how they call futa jalong today. The word of course futa is a Fulani word for a place of residence. Anywhere there are many Fulanis, it's futa. So because of this interaction with them, we don't get for long years, the people of Futa Toro wake now then come south. These were the people, the Fulanis who came south, along with the Bambaras, the Sises, the Fofanas, etc. Then come with Islam. When they reach what you call Guinea Conakry today, some people not be one for join, so they move to the coast. Now then the Jalunkana, Koinadugu and the Suso will get along now the northern province. But later they accepted. They accepted. And that was about the time where this thing we call slavery starts, this Atlantic slave trade. And as a matter of fact, the Atlantic slave trade itself started in Guinea-Bissau. It was started by the Portuguese who took people from mainland Guinea-Bissau to that island that is called Cape Verde. When they said they're not able to expand further, that was when they started exploring, going into the other parts of the world. Caribbean and other places came into the matrix. Later, then Sisen a profitable business because it had an economic gain for Europe. They expand on this thing. They started trading along the coast. And because Freetown is the third largest natural harbor on earth and the only natural harbor in Africa, it became a key trading port. By then, Freetown did not exist as we know it today. But there were several other identities, the Malinkede, the Fulani de, the Limbade, the Kiside, Sosode, Timnide. As a matter of fact, this issue about mayor was introduced by the settlers who came after they arranged and had land given to them from who's how they call government WAF today, right up to the hill na Leicester. That was the first arrangement where the Sierra Leone company been get with Banabum of Rubaga. Rubaga is a village on the Rokel River. And not too far from mile 38 area. Okay? That's the man we call it.
Who done have been them people then they? Waiting have been them your ethnicity.
Banabom, along with the other coastal people, we are speaking mainly Timni, Soso, and Bulum. That area we are Kafu Bulum, na Lunge, na Bulum, them in the day. The Soso, the Bulum, and the Timni, they be don't live for hundreds of years before even the European encounter started. As a matter of fact, when the first Catholic priest, because the Catholics were the first Europeans who came to mix with the people after Pedro da Sintra and others, the first Catholic priest that came to West Africa was a Jesuit priest, Balhazar Barriera. He worked in Angola for some time, then he came to Sierra Leone. He met an organized society with a chief, by Pharma. He converted by Pharma into Christianity. Then Christianity spread down the coast. Take on Usa get Freetown today. If we meet one party when a Timni tribal head, Patam, na mau be lek for it. Timni mau des your tamina mau lek for it. So he converted into Christian, he became a Catholic, and he took the name King Tom. The thing about Bademba, you are very correct, Professor. But Bademba also was living along with Madingos. Okay. Now from Bademba, they get the name Pademba. Up George Brook, you been get people wey na Limba and Kisi they live there because people they come from inland for can sell them goods. So then ship or they pass for go India. And in the process, because then they take long for Waka, they had settlements that identified them as specific social groups. Fulatong was the warrior of the Fulani who came with their cattle. Now, my great grandpa na them been get a place there in Papa them. The Jalo Jamborians them. Okay? Then you been get Bambaratong by Eastern Police. Now the people from Senegambia. You get different settlements who been there. So when the British came and after the treaty, then decide for continue for recognize then tribal heads there. Now they will get 30 in Africa. They say Limba tribal head, social tribal head. In the time say them people have been on the day. But they were in agreement that they forgive land to the Creole them. Why? Because they somehow they understood that these people brought back to us were the people taken from us and sold into slavery or their children.
Okay. So now that side I want to make you engam and then I go to Professor. These people brought back to us. Not to forsay them a stranger. Them being taken and come off from we. Then sell them. Now them picking or something then grand picking them or great grand picking them. Now we they bring come back. Not to stranger picking them we they bring come back. Now people them will belong to this land. Now we they bring come back. And here we have this thing about Creoles were given land in Sierra Leone to reside. The Creoles, as far as history can record it, they've been living in Sierra Leone at least for 231 years. At least as history could record it. Well over 231 years or at least 231 years. For people that we don't live in a place for 231 years, that is at least 2 centuries, more than 2 centuries plus. But we know the indigenes, that we know their origin. Either we are playing blind, we are playing deaf, or we refuse to acknowledge their origin and them belonging to the land. Why will they constantly say, Creole them na come then come, not to then get here soon.
Professor, I think you have the floor, sir.
Yes, that is
Okay.
for you.
I think he has a lot.
If you want, I'll come in later and assist you. But go on.
Okay, I'll say what I can about that. I think much of get for do with politics.
Yes.
How we they exaggerate with cultural differences. And here you get for bring in the role of opportunistic politicians. So you get for ask yourself, who are the benefits? Where would they divide we self on the basis of tribe? Now the ordinary man na village the benefit, or na the politician then they use that as a tool for manipulate to people them for support them even when they know they deliver the goods. In fact, you get one political scientist na me feel, they don't die now, but he been write a very seminal article. He call am the ideology of tribalism. A name na be Achimafeji. And wetin Mafeji argue is that tribalism na a mechanism for political domination. Politicians then they use them for access political power, state office them, public resources, so then they manipulate to people them for support them on the basis of ethnicity or that narrow parochial loyalty where they owe to the group because now that group let them born. You know, But on the part of the ordinary Sierra Leonean or citizen where they subscribe to this tribal ideology, Mafeji argued that then they suffer from what he called false consciousness. And waiting a false consciousness. He described false consciousness as a consciousness way antagonistic to your interest. You they act in a manner where you believe say they in your interest, but unwittingly you they actually act against your interest, because what they try for argue is that the one the way they go vote on the basis of tribalism, they know they vote on the basis of their material interest. Then they vote on the
Yeah.
basis of cultural tribal consideration then. That man they now all come on at the same village. Rather than whether the man a scoundrel or waiting or go do for your community, that takes a backseat. So an argument is that tribalism is a ploy where the
Yeah.
politician and they use. And we the citizen them we gullible enough and fall for that, we suffer from false consciousness because we know they act on the basis of a material interest, we they act on the basis of consideration we not get nothing for do with bread and butter, or we picking and they go school, or we get good hospital them or good road or water or electricity and so forth. So coming back to the issue of Creole exclusion, again, it's not just Creole. Like I say, Fulaman themselves don't go through that. And that is easy now. And you go argue, like as you point out, after 200 years, you would think that some of that division they who don't begin get over them. But that has not been the case because of the role of politics. And what thing really they irk me the most is that yes, Creole they constitute less than 5% of the population, generously speaking. But we
Less
owe a
than
lot.
three, right?
Yes, you cannot begin to talk about Black global history without Creole,
No.
without
No.
Freetown,
No.
you know, without Sierra Leone. Now
No.
the pretty much the center that that's what global Black global history. You cannot even begin to talk about emancipation, you know, the end of slavery, abolition, and so forth. But waiting we don't do na Salone is that we not dey celebrate with history, not just with indigenous people or the one that we feel say they been done did it from time immemorial. I remember I
Mhm.
attend one wedding na Maryland. Then play one limba song where the groom and bridegroom they walk a come in. The man na be limba, the woman a creole. Me hair rise na me head because the song so resonate with me. I don't know one limba, but the cultural resonance. I'm like, damn, I'm so proud of this song, and I don't even know a word of it. You know, but it come from the country. And they always the Ronco they come in. I was like, that was just lovely. So getting back to my point, we not they celebrate with culture. Look at Maroon culture. Jamaica celebrates Maroon culture. Usain
Mhm.
Bolt is a descendant of Maroon. He commutes
Yep.
Giloni. With Giloni
Mhm.
street, we don't get rid of a Lolonton. And you know why the
Well, they
Maroon they
without
named
their
that
other name.
Leone, they were naming their streets not after themselves, but after the one they were fought for freedom. So now that way
Mhm.
you can get Leone Street, all that thing, but we know they celebrate Maroon history. We know they celebrate the aspect then of we history, we in a Creole history, as if Creole not a part of we history. And Creole history is as much a part of Sierra Leone history as Mende history, as Timini history. They've all for put them at the same level. Allow picking and learn about we country, about we history, and how we all na product of hybridization. We all na hybrid. We all can
Mhm.
trace it. Really interest me people who that come out Cameroon, who that come out France, I not even begin. It's pointless. I just consider myself a Sierra Leonean full stop. Now they are born, now they are grow up, and I'm a Sierra Leonean. Yeah, we all can be proud of our identity, but the problem is that we allow our identity for dictate with politics, and the two
Right.
for be separated. The two for be separated. So this tension between Creole and non-Creole, it only go on for a very long time, and both sides then don't contribute to that. The kind of
Yep.
rhetoric, women they come out, before, particularly on the part of Bankole Bright them and others, women very separatist, women get this aura of superiority, we rub some countryman in the wrong way. Some not ever overcome that yet,
Yeah.
in terms of how they relate to Creole, feel say Creole and still feel say, they're superior. But largely it was because of their education. Because of their education, the Creole and foster people that will come up country to plenty Creole and today get up country origin. As you self rightly point out, I get plenty Creole party the way then get Shebra background. Prominent Creole family the way na born then come out. So
Yeah,
not to
because
the
Bond
all
was
get
a colony
Nigerian
at some
origin.
point.
Not to the all get Nigerian origin. I get one Creole party where they Belgium. I mean, if it's not a joke, it's a joke. Where you say you get fuller ancestry on the mama side, it turns out that he was right. But a Creole, he say not to Creole against saying a fuller. You know. So again, the idea is that we are also mixed up. That for begin fixate on any identity, really not make say yes, we can be proud of being fuller, proud of being Timini. But we're not going for carry them over to we politics. Because if you look even look at Timini identity, plenty Timini then today, then you need Timini. Most of them now of Koranko origin.
And
Some now
even
so
Fulani.
origin. Yeah, some Fulani then Binti. Yeah.
You have
So
a
you
ruling
get
house
so you don't have a
in
pure.
Yoni when a Fulani house. The Fula
Yes.
Massa
Where
house.
you see, where you see. So you don't even have a pure Timini. There's no pure Mendi. There's no pure ethnicity, no pure ethnic group. Fula don't mix, Timini don't mix, Mende don't mix, Creole don't mix. So the commonality we share is that of being Sierra Leonean. But waiting the divide we seem for still be stronger than waiting the unite we, and who that they divide we now the politician them. Now the politician, because even when you look at politics, even though tribalism they divide we, when it comes to the region them, tribalism no they undermine regional solidarity, but they undermine national cohesion. Tribalism no mean say Yalunkako Anko Timni Limba and they come together for Woku. So you get ethno-regionalism today. It's not just about ethnicity anymore. It don't graduate into the region. So it's more ethno-regionalism where they cut across the group the way they na the north. Just as ethno-regionalism in the south, they bring Mende, Kisi, and Shebra then together into a kind of political alliance. So me take is that tribalism, we look at them regionally, not a stop then group here for come together politically. But when you look at them nationally, in the country as a whole, tribalism they offset national cohesion and they work against national cohesion. So and that's one of the issues them will ever grapple with. But I know belabor the points now hand over to the boy.